Today we're going to begin our discussion of intelligence. I'm sure it's a concept you're all familiar with. You know intelligent people. You've seen intelligent animals. And now you're even hearing about intelligent machines. But if you ask 10 people to define intelligence, you'll likely get 10 different answers. They might mention good problem-solving, decision-making, planning or learning skills. Or they could point to analytical skills, being creative, having a good memory, or intuition as signs of intelligence. You can see it isn't easy to define. I think the best way to begin is to look at the history of this fascinating concept. One of the first to study intelligence was the English psychologist Sir Francis Galton in the late 1800s. Galton saw intelligence as a general ability that had developed in humans over time. To measure it, he used the speed of finishing mental tasks. People who could do them more quickly were judged more intelligent. Another British psychologist, Charles Spearman, proposed a model in the early 1900s that's a little more complex. He agreed with Galton that intelligence was a general ability. He called it the G factor, with the G standing for general intelligence. But Spearman thought this G factor resulted from a combination of several abilities, including verbal, math, and spatial skills. Not long after, around 1905, French psychologist Alfred Binet designed a test to identify slower learners in need of more help at school. His test used questions to measure decision-making, reasoning, and problem-solving. It was the basis for the Stanford-Binet Intelligence Scale, which rates intelligence with a single number. This is the famous intelligence quotient, or IQ. A quotient is the result of dividing one number by another. Your IQ is your mental age, which is determined by a standardized test, divided by your actual age in years, multiplied by 100. An IQ score of 90 to 109 is average. 110 to 119 is high average. 120 to 129 is very high. And a score of 130 and up is extremely high. IQ was thought to predict success in life. A high IQ became associated with career success and a high salary. For more than half a century, students with similar IQs were often put together in classes. But beginning in the 1960s, some people became concerned about possible negative effects. For example, if teachers expect less of students with lower IQs, they might not encourage them to do better. This could lead to teachers being satisfied with low performance. Also, if children realized their IQs were low, it might result in a negative self-image. This could cause them not to try their hardest, or even to give up. Another problem with IQ scores is that the concept comes from Western cultures. Therefore, it may be biased toward those cultures. People from other cultures might get lower scores that don't show their true intelligence. In 1983, US psychologist Howard Gardner suggested a set of multiple intelligences. He started with 8, the first 4 of which are logical, linguistic, visual spatial, and musical. There is also kinesthetic intelligence, which is high in people who are competent at sports and controlling their body movements. Another is interpersonal intelligence, which involves awareness of others' feelings. Then there's intrapersonal, which is an awareness of one's own feelings. And finally, people with naturalistic intelligence feel connected with the natural world. More recent theories on intelligence focus on how our minds adapt to our environment. In this practical view, intelligence is seen as helping us deal with life's problems. This is similar to the concept of animal intelligence, which is often measured in terms of practical factors, such as problem-solving ability. For example, some birds solve puzzles as well as 5-year-old children. Finally, the field of artificial intelligence, or AI, needs a definition broad enough to include machines. An intelligent machine can perceive its environment and act by itself to achieve goals. It can also learn and use knowledge. But we could easily apply such a definition to animals and humans too. This forces us to think about intelligence as something that humans, animals, and machines all possess, although in varying degrees. Our idea of intelligence continues to evolve. It's definitely something to think about.